Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Future of Customer Service podcast by Inbenta. We are really excited today to have with us Livio Pugliese. He's the country manager of Interactive Media, an amazing company that specializes in making chatbots and artificial intelligence talk through phones and traditional lines. So that's absolutely a very interesting topic that I want to discuss. So, Livio, how are you today?
Very good, thank you, Charlie.
Yeah, absolutely.
And thank you for having me.
Oh, absolutely! It's an honor having you and such a knowledgeable person being the country manager for Interactive Media in the U.S. That's really a pleasure for us having you here. Could you introduce yourself? What you and your company does that we would love to
Sure.
learn that.
Livio Pugliese, I have had a long experience in telecommunications and customer service. I was at several companies in the sector. And right now I work for Interactive Media, which is based in Italy. And with operations also, well, here in the United States, of course, and in Brazil. We have been in the telecom voice sector for a very long time, about 25 years at this point. And we have a lot of experience in this, of course.
Absolutely. So if you listeners of this podcast take some time to look at the Inbenta website, we have this integration hub, and there's a number of partners that we work with that support our chatbot product to work over lines. And one of the things that you will see is this integration with a company called PhoneMyBot, or a technology or a product called PhoneMyBot. So, Livia, could you tell us what is PhoneMyBot, please?
Yeah. So, Interactive Media, at a certain point, looked at the market and decided that the state of conversational AI is such that there's a lot of text-based bots out there. It's been really an explosion in the past few years, but not so many voice bots. So clearly they exist, but they're much less common. And in general, it takes a lot of effort to develop voice bots. And so we decided, well, a good niche or a good, there's definitely a need to expand what has been done in the chat sector and give it voice. So really, PhoneMyBot is a solution that gives chatbots the gift of voice, in essence.
Got it. That's a yes. And yeah, could you tell us in a nutshell what are the main modules of a voice bot? How does that work? How does it interact with text bots? Which are the main components of a solution such as yours?
Yeah. So in our view, of course, you have the intelligence. So the conversational AI is in the back end for us. In the chatbot, and the chatbot has obviously developed a knowledge base and integrations with all the systems in the back end of the customer service operation of the company, is receiving text interactions, in essence. Now, what does it mean to have voice, especially telephony voice, interact with the chatbot? Well, First, we need to connect with the telephone network. And obviously, we do that. We've been doing that for forever. And then you need to take the speech and convert it into text. And there are many commercial offers for that. So there is a module that manages the speech-to-text engines. And we use more than one. At that point, you have the utterance of the user, which has been translated into text. You send it to the chatbot. The chatbot does its processing, comes back with an answer or another question, anyways, another text. And we get the text, and now we need to convert it into speech. Again, there are many commercial offers for that. And there's different voices, of course, different languages, obviously. We manage of that through our media server. And once the speech comes back, we pipe it into the telephone connection again.
All right, that's amazing. I remember we had in this very podcast, we invited once Fabian Reikaimar from a company called Elaboratorium. They help customers build and understand the conversational AI. And one of the things that I remember is like, well, if you want to build a good conversational system, you have to imagine that the conversation would happen over the phone. So when you are writing your answers, imagine that will work over the phone. So my question to you is, how different is building a chatbot, a conversational AI, let's say over a pure digital channel like the web or WhatsApp? How is that different from envisioning it for a voice conversation, if different at all?
Let's say that over the phone, you have obviously a more stringent real-time requirement. So people are used to, when they use a chat application, they use maybe the person they're talking with answering in a few seconds, maybe 20 seconds, I don't know, something like that. Well, obviously on the phone, you need right now, like 1-2 seconds maximum delay, right? The other thing is, there are different challenges. So obviously, speech to text is not perfect. We are trying to do our best to optimize it, of course. For instance, using different speech to text engines for different use cases, different languages, and so on and so forth. But it may be that something will come back wrong, or maybe with not enough confidence to send it over, on the one hand. On the other hand, you will never have problems like misspelling or things like that, because the speech engine takes care of it, of course.
Generates perfect written language. And we have seen in the industry of call centers the idea of IVR, right? Which, by the way, I forgot what IVR means.
Interactive voice response.
Exactly, interactive voice response, which is a glorified way to say a menu. So press 1 if you want to do A, press 2. And I don't know if that happens to other people listening here, but to me, when I get to number 9, I don't remember what was number 1.
Oh, absolutely. That's the main problem.
Exactly. So a natural question here is, what are the advantages of using voice bots or call bots, the way we call it, versus IVR? What is the advantage that our customers can expect that in this transition?
No, the advantages are enormous. As you said, IVRs, touch tone IVRs which are still probably the most common ones, are hard to navigate, and sometimes people forget the options, or they have to wait until the end of the menu to see if their option actually comes up, and all this kind of thing. So it takes a long time and a lot of effort. On the other hand, if you have a conversational IVR, basically the intelligence behind it understands the intent immediately. And so instead of having to navigate menus, you can zero in pretty quickly to that particular the intent, in essence. It has to be flexible because sometimes people don't express everything at the same time, of course. But you can usually narrow the reason for the call after a first question, or after they express what they're calling for, and then follow up with different questions and very quickly understand what they want. In essence, it flattens out the menu tree into a single line, if you want.
And I'm assuming that once you have this call bot in place, it's not only about static answers, right? You ask a question and you get, well, that's what you have to do, and blah, 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 being kind of a static answer. It can, and because the system is using kind of a text-to-speech technology, it can deliver personalized information, can implement transactions in the backend. So my question is how that is done, and according to your experience, how is security involved in that, right? Because I am calling, I'm talking to a machine, and the machine is going to give information about me. How is the machine sure that it's me and not some other person, right? How would that work?
So there are several ways. First of all, when you call in, the system receives your telephone number. So usually there is a first, let's say, hint of who you are from the calling number. Then at that point, you can, for instance, ask for a PIN, if there is a PIN. Or there are several ways now, of course, of a biometric.
PIN is a personal identification number, right?
That's right. Yes,
it's the equivalent of the password in the world of a phone, where I have just a few numbers.
Absolutely, but we also find many instances in which we integrate with biometric authentication services. So depending on how the company that deploys the system is organized, there are services with voice prints, for instance, in which the customer has previously recorded his or her voice within the system, and then it is recognized by the system.
That's super interesting, and you can integrate with that, right? So essentially, I call and the system recognizes my voice across so many multiple, maybe hundreds of thousands of different voices that are recorded.
Absolutely, that works really well. One thing that I would say is that there are two ways of doing this. One is passive, in which the system just records a snippet of the voice and then authenticates it without saying anything to the caller, which I really
we are secretly recognizing the voice, not telling.
That's right.
Hey, Olivia, how are you today? I can hear that it's you.
That's right. I think it could be pretty disconcerting and not a very good customer experience. So I really prefer the system to ask for a sample size. So say, for instance, my password is my voice, or sorry, my voice with my password would be, and then you recognize that. So the user at least knows that he's been authenticated and not, surreptitiously.
So as we are learning a lot today on all this world, right? So an important component here is what we call speech to text, right? Or
Absolutely.
STT sometimes is called as well.
ASR, so
SAR,
automatic
right?
ASR, automatic speech recognition. Yes.
Oh, amazing, amazing. Thank you, Olivia. So, and then, essentially that's transformed into text, and then the chat. And there is the whole thing about sentiment detection, right? And there's chatbots, some of them come equipped with that. Inbenta has a sentiment detection module as well, which says, okay, this kind of words in this kind of language implies that there's some negative,
Absolutely.
positive.
Yeah.
But of course, that's about what you say, right? But how you say it, that's a whole story that is lost in the text. And that's why sometimes human communication is difficult. I send an email, and the way the email is interpreted from a sentiment is led to the reader. As a writer, that's probably that's why the emoticon has been so popular, because you put your little emoticon and say, well, I'm saying this, but you could interpret that negatively. But no, I'm saying it positive. But when we are speaking, there's no emoticons. We are the emoticons. So we smile, and the way we speak and the tone of the voice. Is that also processed in the system? Is there ways to use that?
Well, it can be, because as interacting media, we don't have our own ASR. We use ASR from commercial ASRs, and the technology is continuously changing, of course. So it's been commoditized. There are more options. Some of them have a sentiment detection. So yes, absolutely.
Okay, that's fascinating. All right, so all that is about artificial intelligence, right? So what is your vision on how artificial intelligence is going to bring to customer interaction in the future?
Well, so right now, artificial intelligence in many ways is changing the customer service operations. From, again, the chatbots and voice bots in front of human agents, to, for instance, automatic process management, so that agents don't need to put in a lot of effort in doing, for instance, post-call analysis, post-call report, and these kind of things. So what we see at the moment as the role of AI is really to be able to solve a good percentage of the most common cases. So something like, I want to reset my password, for instance, that used to need to go to a human agent, at this point doesn't need to do that anymore, because the AI is able to understand what the problem is and do it automatically, right? So on the one hand, I mean, this is huge. On the one hand, customers calling in are more and more doing their own, using self-service in essence. And so most of the times they're happier to do that because it's much shorter the time. There is no wait because obviously the AI scales seamlessly. And only when something is complicated, their need go to a human agent. So this is much more efficient, better for the customer, better for the company, of course, bottom line, and in the end also better for the agents who at this point don't have to continue to do routine tasks.
Yes, we know, and that's what we have been advocating for from Inbenta. Is AI is not here to kind of remove jobs. What we do is we make these jobs more interesting by
Absolutely.
taking care of the most repetitive and boring activities and freeing time and energy to build better content, to build a strategy and how to improve quality for services. So we are an absolute believer that AI, well, A is here to stay. B is not here to remove jobs, but the other way around, to actually create new roles, new skills that are going to be needed in the future. Pretty sure about that.
Absolutely, yeah, yes.
So, all right, we've been working together, right, for a while now with this integration. Would you tell us your experience working with my company that happens to be the founder, as I am the founder and CEO of Inbenta? How has it been working with us?
Absolutely, no, it's been great. I found that you have a very agile organization, and technically you're very strong. Of course, you've been in this for a very long time, just we have been, right? So we definitely understand each other. But at the same time, you're really receptive to new ideas, because this is something new for you. So
absolutely. For Inbenta, we've been in the digital space forever. We came a long way from and natural language processing, even search engines, conversational, all that, yeah. And then when you put voice technology and then phone, is like you feel that you are completing the circle, right? It's like, okay, now you and I are communicating by speaking, and that's the most efficient way humans communicate to each other, and probably it's been like that for millions of years, so you're not going to change that over time. So it's amazing to see how this apparently different technologies starting to converge.
I mean, considering the speech again in customer service, I've seen research from some analyst firm confirming that yes, obviously digital has been very much growing. It's used by a lot of people, but paradoxically, speech and phone calls have not gone down in person; they've gone up, because what happens when you can't solve things with digital, then you need to call, and you need to talk with. You need to have real-time feedback in essence.
Yes. Well, and that opens a real interesting question, right? So I call, I get a bot answering my questions. What if my question is not answered, or the bot cannot figure out the way to solve it? What happens then? What can the bot do?
Yeah, I mean, so we integrate with the contact center as well. And so the bot can at any time transfer the call to a human agent. With the advantage that the whole conversation possibly, or at least some of the data within the conversation can be transferred to the agent's desktop. And so they will see.
So they don't have to be annoying. It's like, okay, what is your name? What you're starting from the beginning. You get the agent can have like a great deal of information on what happened, what was the question, and the answers. Okay, that's and therefore speeding up the process of having the problem solved, and
yes, absolutely.
Both the life of the agent and the life of customers. That's Listen, I will be talking about this topic for a long time, but we have some time limit here in our podcast. So, Livia, we'd like to you to let us know if our audience would like to contact you on your company. What is the best way to find you?
Yeah, so I think that the best way would really be go to our PhoneMyBot website, which is
that's PhoneMyBot.com. Okay, PhoneMyBot.com. Okay.
And then look around, and there is a contact us button, of course.
All right.
And
so that message is gonna go to you guys. All right.
Absolutely. Yes.
So, dear audience, PhoneMyBot.com. This is where you will find Livio and the team doing a great job on bringing intelligence or artificial intelligence to phone conversations. Livio, thank you so much for your time. It's been
thank you. Great talking to you.
Absolutely. All right. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.